Here I tried to create an arch, and I did this by putting water in the back of the drywall, and look how jagged it is. It's not a real smooth rounded arch. It didn't turn out real well, and more or less kind of cracked as you're going the stress points of the drywall and bending it. It kind of had cracks in it, but I put it up anyway, and I'll have to smooth it out when I'm doing my mud work later on. On this side, I broke no less than 8 pieces of drywall, soaking them with water. I read that 1/4-inch drywall should be easier to bend, that we tried 1/4-inch, but the lightweight 3/8 works better than the standard 1/4-inch as far as bending. But this didn't work worth beans. It just was a horrible idea. So what I did is I took the piece of 1/4-inch, I cut grooves across the back, I scored every 3/4 inch or so, and as you see when I'm putting up, it kind of snaps or breaks as the boards are in the back, so it kind of follows a curve fairly well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take this down, and just to make it a little better, smoother, I'm going to manually snap every partition or every couple partitions, so about every 1.5 inches it's going to have a snap in it. So once I put it back up, it will form much easier than it did previously. Now this was actually going to be a deck. Here's a 12 by 16 foot deck I built onto my house. But my wife decided her kitchen was way too small, which it was, and she wanted a dining room, so I actually bought I-joists, and I insulated the floor of the I-joists. I put down, well, let's look at this first, how this works. You see it goes up there, and it's going to bend much nicer. It's going to form, a much better contour than the other side did. But as I was saying, I wanted to build a heated, my sunroom, my 3-season room, which was previously a deck, was going to turn into a 3-season room, but then now into a full living quarters. So I bought 12-inch I-joist. I laid 2-inch pieces of foam insulation in there to stack them up all the way up to the top of the I-joist, basically. So I end up with about an R40-inch floor as far as insulated R value. I actually ran a couple hot air returns out there also, so I had an extra or R10 less. So under that part of the floor, I had about an R30. So the bottom line is we have approximately a 14 by 16 foot dining room, and it will have heating and air conditioning in there. There's all windows around the outside, so it's basically a sunroom along with a dining room. It really turned out quite nicely, but there you see the arch. You don't see any real sharp jaggies in there like on the other side where it kind of snapped or cracked along the line, along the stress points. So I'll even there you see it's a little bit jagged. It's not a real smooth finish, but when I finish the drywalling, you'll see it's going to turn out quite nicely. The arch or the curvature is going to turn out quite well. You see there's a gap between the two arch pieces I put in there. My wife suggested, which I didn't even think about, putting in a piece of drywall. So I put a piece of 1/2-inch drywall in between there, and that just then I filled up with mud and smoothed out, and it turned out quite nicely. But I'm quite pleased with the finished project. It is actually the 8th of April 2016. It's kind of a cold, snowy day outside, about 30 degrees out, gloomy. But anyway, it turned out quite nicely. I've got to do a little finishing on the inside, but there's the finished project. See how nice and smooth that turned out? It's a real nice, smooth curve. In the sunroom you can see, which is kind of a mess yet, but there's a dining room table. I got a fireplace right to the left there. I've got a gas fireplace we put in there also for extra heat in the winter. It turned out beautifully. I hope this helps, but be careful. Do not try and soak the drywall. It doesn't work worth beans, just unless you got a tiny arch. But just do it the right way and put in some extra cuts in the back of the drywall. You could use 3/8 or 1/2 inch in this case, and it will work quite nicely. You won't have any problem at all, and you have a nice easy arch. You see how well that formed. It's nice smooth curvature. Hope this helps you. Please subscribe. God bless you and have a wonderful day.